All right, looks like we're recording. James, thank you in advance for taking a few minutes to talk about your experience with the Positioning Accelerator program. Let's start with you. Who are you? What do you do?
Sure. My name is James Stone, and I am what I call a design systems architect. And so I work kind of at the intersection of design and engineering, and I help to create systems to build websites and make teams communicate and their processes much smoother.
Awesome. So tell me what your business looked like before you started the Positioning Accelerator program.
Sure. So before I started the Positioning Accelerator program, I'd kind of gone through some refinement with another coaching program. So I had kind of refined a little bit what my position was. But for years, what I was is basically the platform guy. I focused in a technology called Zurb Foundation, and I built a lot of buzz around this. Originally, I was going to write a book, but the book got canceled. And so I started building a platform, and people got interested in what I was doing. It was mostly doing technical screencasts and technical tutorials and that type of thing. And I became well known for it. People started asking me to do work. And so I kind of fell into this type of work. When my wife was studying abroad, I lived in Paris, so it was a good fit. And I continued doing it. And that time right before when I was working with you, I'd refined some of like the copywriting on my webpage and had gotten some better leads and this type of thing. But in the back of my mind, I always wondered, is this the right fit for me? Like Zurb Foundation platform. I was really worried about how long responsive web design would be a topic that's really important. Like how, like if people were going to come in and start undercutting me, like how I could keep my rates up. And I was just basically worried that maybe in a few years, like say 3 or 4 years, that work might kind of dry up and I wouldn't know exactly what to do.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I was at.
Okay, so it sounds like you saw a sort of shelf life sticker on your current type of work and market position and so forth. So what were you hoping to change, or what kind of vision did you have for how things might be different?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I read a lot about positioning and had heard a lot about it, and I understood the benefits of having a stronger niche position. And I understood there's verticals and horizontals and, all this kind of stuff. So I felt like I was educated in how to solve the problem from a theoretical point of view. But what I didn't know how to do was get from point A to B. Like I didn't know how to go from what I was doing to something that was a niche and also make money at the same time and transition. And I just really had no idea, because like I would look at verticals and look at my clients, be like, oh, maybe it's e-commerce, or, maybe it's like startups. Like I would have all these like kind of wild ideas on verticals, but they never really seemed to click. And I think I was hesitant. I felt like I didn't know that focusing on e-commerce really solved a problem. So I had some ideas of where I could go, but they were just kind of like weird ideas, but I didn't know how to get from like platform guy to like an area where I felt like I was solving an expensive problem and could kind of build a body of work.
Yeah, I remember we looked at a lot of options, and so what you ended up with is sort of how you introduced yourself when we started this call. What kind of concerns did you have about the program itself before you started? I mean, I imagine you, like a lot of people, were like, okay, here's this guy, he's got this thing. we talked and answered some questions, but aside from that, like what were the concerns or the things you didn't know about it before you started it?
Yeah. I mean, if I remember right, I think I had emailed you a bunch of times. And so I was on your email list. I had read your book, cover to cover, and was pretty excited about the topics you're talking about. And I think at the time you had kind of more like a boot camp style, 2 weeks and you're there. And to be honest, I thought about that and I thought, wow, I don't know if 2 weeks would do it. I thought it sounded like a great idea. I'm like, I love the idea that I could go from like where I was at to like fully realized niche position in 2 weeks. But I felt like maybe that wasn't going to work for me. I don't know why.
It turns out it doesn't work for a lot of people.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And so, and then there was the other accelerator program. And for me, I was a little bit concerned about the price. I'm very price conscious because, I'm responsible for driving revenue in our family. I'm not just doing this like as a hobby. It's my full-time gig, and I've been doing it for about 4 years now. And so I didn't mind investing money into something that I thought was going to bring some long-term benefit, even if it wasn't like direct revenue right away. But I was concerned about how much money, I was concerned about how long it might take. I was concerned about whether it was going to work for me. And I was a little bit concerned about, was it going to be a good fit, right? Like, was I going to sign up for this thing and I was going to be like, maybe not getting exactly what I thought out of it. I did some coaching before, like group coaching. And my experience there was one other person who did the work and everyone else like was on autopilot mode and didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really hard to stay enthusiastic and do the work. And I felt like if I was in a better place where other people were doing the same things, like it might work better for me.
Yeah.
So these are kind of some of the concerns I had going into it.
Thank you. So how did it work out? I mean, what you can, what the good, bad, and the ugly of how it turned out?
The good, bad, and ugly. Okay. So I would say I expected results faster. I had this expectation that like I was going to be like, okay, these are my ideas. And you'd be like, all right, number one, go. I don't know why I thought that. Or you were going to say like, it's not number one. It's actually this oddball thing you never thought about.
Right.
So I think I was looking for like some, crystal ball. You were going to solve all my problems. And it was a sense of frustration for me over, many years to try and solve this problem. And I think initially it started off pretty slow where I was doing this reading, right? Some reading that you had suggested. And I think the answer to the problem for me was a process. And I wasn't what I was expecting. I was like, what is this? I'm like, I don't know. Like, maybe it sounds like it works for people, but I was like, I don't know about this. So
you're like
uncertainty.
talking about the kind of the research process.
The research process.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like getting on the, like, I mean, I think, like my dad was a car salesman, so I'm uncomfortable sometimes. Like I'm extroverted. I don't mind talking to people, but like one time his buddy got me a job at an RV dealership and he was like, okay, you're going to go to an RV dealership and you're going to pretend to buy an RV. And that made me really uncomfortable, even though I don't mind talking to people.
Yeah.
I don't like lying to people.
Right.
But like, so it made me uncomfortable that I was going to have to go through this process of doing research and like hit the streets, be on the phone with people, be uncomfortable about it in an area where I didn't feel like I was an established expert. Like I think for the platform stuff, I felt like I was established. It's easy for me to talk about, but stuff I don't know, well, I was like, I don't know. So that was like maybe the ugly, and it was uncomfortable for a while. And I think it took longer than I expected. And maybe that I didn't have good expectations there, but I would say the good was when I came out of that process, I felt a lot more confidence in the area that I had chosen. And so when that started to transition, I felt actually like I had like this accelerated trajectory into what I was doing, because it wasn't that dissimilar from the types of ideas or the environments or places I was hanging out. It was just more refined and more specific. And so I felt like I was like on a slingshot being shot out to where I could go, because I'd already built a platform before. I just knew I had to do it again. And I felt like even more so, like it even increased, like maybe it's like a slingshot with rocket boosters, because I think that having someone like you to talk to who has worked with other people and has built a platform, obviously yourself, had a lot of ideas about how I can increase that velocity. And so rather than me spinning my wheels, like my idea was to do the thing I did before, like YouTube videos, got to be the answer, right? And so I think that that's maybe not the best answer. And I think you had some really great suggestions about how I could take that position, take what I'm doing, and get more out of it. And I just want to backtrack a little bit, because even more important than that, when I went through some coaching before, one of the big things that they told me was I was good at gathering attention, but I wasn't so good at harnessing that attention for commercial means, meaning I would share a bunch of stuff and be excited, enthusiastic, but that's it. And so I think what you've helped me to do is understand that there's a whole business aspect to this, to create a funnel and to create some way to drive people into consistently. And so now when I go out and talk about things or do things, it's very easy for me to send people in one direction. Everyone comes in, people have a good experience. I'm educating people still, but it's like very controlled and it's very systematic. And so not only do I have this accelerated path towards talking about things in my niche, I send everyone back the same way. And before, it was like, sign up on my YouTube, sign up on my Twitter. And, those are like vanity metrics. Like, it doesn't help me that this many people watch my videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a trust builder perhaps, but it wasn't driving revenue, and I had no consistency of leads, and it was very unpredictable.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned taking longer than you expected. I should have looked up before we got on the call how long you were in the program. Do you remember?
I think about 5 or 6 months. I can't remember exactly.
Okay. That sounds about right. And you left with sort of a list of about 20 things to be doing on your own next, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So since then, how's it gone? Of course, your business is 50 times what it was before, right?
I wish.
That's not how it works. So yeah, kind of get me up to current speed. Like what's changed since then?
Yeah. So I think when I kind of left your program, I was kind of at an established area. Like I knew this was the direction to go, and I was kind of like on the fence. And I think, from speaking with other people in the program, it seems this is common. It's like, okay, I have this, like, I'm the Zurb Foundation guy website, and now I'm the design systems engineering guy, which is more topic based.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, I'm about to like crater my business. I built all this stuff up, and I think I know what I was doing. And I was about to like kind of tear it all down. And I'll tell you, so first thing that I did when I left was start to create like a hybrid version of this. So I started to change the positioning on the homepage at least, right? And just little things I would change without making a big change. And I think what happened is I've had seasonal dips right into the winter, and I say the summer months with my business, just, historically. And so I was going into this kind of slump. I knew that's what was going to happen. So it wasn't like a big surprise to me. And I think I was sitting around just thinking about stuff, like maybe not even making that much progress. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's all in my head. Like I had some ego problem. What does it matter? I change this position and just go all in. So I think at one point I just like pretty much hosed my entire website, which was like some middleman, terrible thing that I hand built all the time. I mean, it looked nice.
Yeah.
And I replaced it with, some suggestions you had, like with WordPress and Thrive themes. And I created from my perspective, like a site that's much more business focused on lead generation. And before it was kind of like, this is me. Like I'm a cool person.
Right. I agree. You are.
Just 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can do like a jump cut or something there.
We'll see.
Okay. I apologize.
But we'll see how much I feel like editing video.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying you sort of nuked your site, which was built around the old Zurb position, and started just kind of went all in with a bunch of changes at once. It sounds like.
Yes, exactly. So I kind of went all in, focus on lead generation, and I had this list of things to do. And I had a certain time frame that I thought it was going to take, like 3 to 6 months. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I have a wall, like on my wall right behind me right now, and it's got my goals right here. And it's the new position, lead generation, revenue, interviews. Mm-hmm. And so I have a more extensive set of goals that I was trying to accomplish. And we talked about priorities and which would really kind of drive the most. And so it was very easy. I would say, okay, this is the next thing. And I would just keep pushing on it every week. And what I've done since then is like now I have a website that's focused in that area. All of it is about lead generation. I also have a course that I've created with a vanity URL, designsystemscrashcourse.com, and I point everyone there in all my social channels. And so people come into the system and they get a nice, 3-day course, and then it asks for testimonials and other things. And it's all from content that I wrote, generating ideas kind of with you. So like all of this isn't in the exact same order. And I think the other thing I'm doing is I send out daily emails, and that's made a tremendous impact, both in the amount of content that I've generated, the kind of confidence, being able to talk about more specifics, continuing to do research in my field. And also this course was kind of generated from the ideas that I created these daily emails, because I just have a ton of content. It was just about kind of organizing together in some sort of cohesive thing. Right now, it's still in process. In fact, this is the week I'm trying to launch. I went too big with the idea of a product that I want to sell. And then now I'm kind of scaling it back and doing a mini product and then going to add it later to a bigger one. But having a daily email allows me to do things like that very quickly. Before, I had a list of like, I don't know, 1,000 people, and I would email them maybe once a week or maybe once every 3 months. And I sold some courses here and there, like some workshops, but it was very unpredictable and people weren't used to hearing from me. But now I think it was like something like 10% or 15% of my list said, I want to know about this course, right? And so I'm able to easily get people interested, get them segregated into a path that's going to talk about the course and upsell them. While everyone else, I just continue to talk about the same kinds of topics. And so what I like about that is the list has a lot more value than what I had before, because, and talk about changing, I just ditched the old list. I said, you can follow me or this is it. And only like 5% of the people came over. So 5% of 1,000. And I think part of it is not having engaging content, not doing something with the list. Part of it is I built a list, but I didn't know why. And I felt like before coming into the positioning program, I was doing a lot of this, like gathering attention. I'm like, and I would hear about it. I'm like, oh, I got to build a list. So I built a list, but I didn't really know why.
Yeah.
There wasn't like a business reason driving it. And so I would lose interest, or it was like I had a list.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think it was very valuable.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You are one of very few people I don't actually try to persuade that many people to email daily. I think it's on a case-by-case basis, but you're one of the people where I was like, it's clearly the right thing for what you're trying to build. And I just love seeing your emails every day in my inbox. I'm one of the people on your list, and I just think you're doing great stuff there. So let's try to wrap this up. I try to keep these on the shorter side. So what kind of business would you recommend consider this program, and what kind would you say, no, don't even think about it, it's not a good fit?
Yeah, I think there's really two types of businesses that would gain the most from working with you and the program. I think it's small agencies where it's not like 100 people. Mm-hmm. I think if you have 100 people, probably have momentum. And I don't know that niching is your problem. Yeah. But if you're like 2 to maybe 10 people, not, obviously there's like some leaders and some people building things or whatever. Yeah. I think that's a really good fit. I think also if you're solo or partnered up with like 1 or 2 people, like that's ideal, because I can see it right now. Like, like how long are you going to be the platform person? How long can you maintain that expertise? Like you got to kind of drill down a little bit further, because right now there's a lot of noise. It's hard to stand out, and if you're not already established too, like you have to kind of find a better way to niche in. I see other people come in to the industry and they start freelancing, they start doing contract work for hire, whatever, and then they don't know what to do, what's next. And I think that's fine, but there's a point in your business when you want to take it to the next level. Like you have to become well known for something. And I think the something, it's like actually very important. It shouldn't just be arbitrary. It's not like I just did it because. I think if you're more specific about it and find something that, help, you're interested in, that you have some expertise and some background in, that you can kind of create some thought leadership and maybe some IP in, I think it's going to be so much more valuable than just having to hustle all the time, which is how it felt before. Yeah,
for sure. Okay. Well, James, how can people check you out online and see what you're up to?
Sure. So the best way to check out what I'm up to is to sign up for the course that I'm talking about. It's a great 3-day course, teaches you all about design systems and how it's going to make your web projects so much smoother and really ease communication between your design and engineering team. The URL is designsystemscrashcourse.com. So yeah, go check out that free course, sign up, and you'll find out what I'm all about.
James, thanks for talking to me today. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for having me.